You know, people, now when we consider in your O levels, you have drawn this kind of graphs, y equals x minus 1, right? And y equals 2x plus 1. Right, people, you know, in your O levels under graph lesson, you have discussed, you have drawn this kind of straight lines on the graph paper. People, can you remember the way you sketch this graph in the this straight lines on the graph paper? So there, I think you prepared this way a table. This way a table prepared, right? Showing in the first row the x and corresponding y here, and we put for x some values like this. Okay, and subplotting these x values were here, and we found the y values. Okay, I'll just explain a little bit more. And now when I put x equals minus 1 here, minus 1, people, minus 2. When you put x equals 0 here, we get minus 1. And x equals 1, when you put 0, x equals 2, we get 1. Like this, you prepare the table. And thereafter, taking the graph paper, or your square rule book, people, this two axes x and y you sketched like this. You sketch the two axes like this, people. Thereafter, what you did, taking a scale, you of course mark these points on the plane or xy plane. This is called as the origin. I know, people, now x equals minus 1, y is minus 2. So x equals minus 1 is somewhere here, y minus 2 suppose somewhere here. Then the point is this. Is the point. Right. X equals 0, y minus 1 is the point. X equals 0, 1, and then x equals 1, y is 0. So here is the point. Therefore, after 2, it's 1. Then, people, yeah, so then we get some points like this. Okay, and now what we did to draw the straight line, people, right? We join these points, you see, by a straight line, and we produce that to both ends like this. So this is that line, y equals x minus 1. This is how you drew. People, remember, here and after, we don't construct this way a table to draw the straight line. People, now suppose like this, you can see in drawing this graph, this straight line, we have one point here when x equals 0, y minus 1, this point. And the other one, x equals 1, y 0, this one. Now suppose, people, without finding this and this, suppose we found when x equals 0, y minus 1, this one we found, and x equals 1, y 0, this one we found. That means we have, suppose, only this point. These 2 points we have. Now finding only that 2 points and keeping your ruler, right, so that its straight edge lie on these 2 points, and drawing a straight line, and when you produce, people, you can notice the other 2 points here we marked, this and this automatically comes onto that line. Then, people, it says no point then finding this coordinate y minus 2 and this coordinate y1. No point, meaningless. So that says, people, to draw the straight line, really how many points we need? People, we need 2 points. Why? To keep our edge of the ruler on that 2 points, we need 2 points. Then it is very enough, people, having only 2 points on a straight line to draw the straight line. Understand? So therefore, if you need to draw a straight line, people, what you need to do is this way. No longer we construct a table as we did in the O levels. People, then what we do? By putting 2 values for x, we find the corresponding 2 values of what? Y. Then only that 2 points we plot, mark on the xy plane. Then keeping the edge of the straight ruler, people, on that 2 points, and we draw a smooth line and we produce that to both ends. Understand? Then we get, people, the required straight line. This way, no need to construct a table. Understand? So therefore, especially if you need 2 points, people, usually very common way is, people, we take as our 2 points like this. You know, people, when we draw any line, if that line is not parallel to x-axis or y-axis, definitely that line cuts the axis x and y. So therefore, we first find the point where line cuts the x-axis. To find that, people, what we do is, in the equation here, y equals x minus 1. To find one point to draw the straight line, people, this point we need to find. What is this point? The point where the line cuts the x-axis. You know, at this point, y coordinate is what, people? 0. Why? On the x-axis, at any point on the x-axis, y coordinate is 0. Then put in here y0. What do you get? When you put y0 here, 0 equals x minus 1. Bring this minus 1 to this side. Then we get plus 1. 0 plus 1 coming. It is equal to x. Therefore, x is 1. Then one point is what, people? X coordinate 1, y coordinate 0, 1, 0. Here, this point is 1, 0. Secondly, to find this point, people, you know, this point is on the y-axis. People, any point on the y-axis has what? X coordinate 0. Then to get that point, what we do is, people, in the same equation, we put x equals 0. X equals 0. Then what do you get? Y is 0 minus 1. Y is minus 1. Then what is the point? 0 minus 1. X coordinate 0, y coordinate minus 1 is this. Then like that, people, that 2 required points we can find. Then after marking that 2 points on the relevant places on the xy plane, we put the ruler and we draw the line. Then we get required line. So therefore, people, here in after, don't make this kind of what? Table. Don't make this kind of table. Understand? They are to find out 2 points, put x equals 0 and find y. Understand? And y equals 0 and find x. Right? And then we take the 2 points. And then we join that 2 points and produce to both ends. Then we get the straight line. Okay, people. Right. Now, this first line we drew. Now, suppose, people, I need to draw this line. This is drawn already, this one. Then what we do, people? We put x equals 0. Put x equals 0, y is 1. Then one point is what? 0, 1. Secondly, we put, people, y0. We put y0. When you put y0, what do you get? 0, 2x plus 1. Okay. Bring this one to this side. That will be minus 1 equals 2x, people. Now divide both sides by 2. Then cancel down this and this. Minus half equals x means really, people, this is x equals minus half. Then what is other point, people? X coordinate minus half, y coordinate 0, right? Minus half and 0. Right. Then we have 2 points. 0, 1, x coordinate 0, y coordinate 1. 0, 1 is, people, x coordinate 0 is here, y coordinate 1 is here. This is the 0, 1 point. Right. Then another one. y0 x minus half. y0 x minus half means, people, x minus 1 here, minus half is there for somewhere here. These are the 2 points. Then what we need to do is, people, we have to join these 2 points this way and produce this. We produce. All right. So then, people, you know, this line is now what, people? This line is y equals 2x plus 1. Remember, we have one separate lesson called as straight lines in pure maths syllabus. We will discuss more theories involved in this straight lines in that lesson, people. Right? Okay. Now let's see here. Right. Now, people, you can see. Now you can see these 2 lines we drew just now. They cross each other here. They cross each other here, or they cut each other here, or that is called as the 2 lines intersect each other. Intersect. They intersect each other at the point this. People, you can very clearly understand when we draw these 2 lines on the xy plane. At the point of intersection, this point is called as point of intersection. Understand? This point of intersection, people, has x coordinate and y coordinate. That means when I draw a line parallel to x axis until it meets the y axis, right, this way and this way, people. Here there is a x coordinate for this point, y coordinate for this point, and therefore for this point there should be x coordinate and y coordinate. X coordinate mean, people, really this length. Y coordinate of this point means really this depth. Understand? Then you can remember the way you found the x and y coordinates at this point of intersection of the two lines. People, to find out the x coordinate, that means this length, the y coordinate, that means this depth at this point, x and y coordinates, how to find, people? Can you remember, people, what we did there? You know, people, this height is the y coordinate of what? This line. And the same height is the y coordinate of this line. Therefore, at this point, the y coordinates of the two graphs being equal. Therefore, people, to find the x coordinate at this point of intersection, what we did, we equated of these two equations, the y and this y become equal at this point. When this left hand side of these two equations are equal, right hand side should definitely be equal. Then what we did here to find out, people, the x coordinate at the point of intersection of the two lines, people, since at that point the y coordinates of the graphs being equal, we equated the y coordinates. These two are equal. When these two are equal, mean, people, left hand side equal means the right hand side equal. So therefore, what we do is the right hand side 2x plus 1 of the first line, we equate to what? Right hand side x minus 1 to the second line. So once you simplify like this, people, now here you have simple equation. Now once I bring this to this side, that will be minus 6. This one to right, people, right hand side we get minus 1. Then we get 2x minus 6. And this is minus 1. Bring this right hand side minus 1. Here we get 2x minus x is x, people. This is minus 2. Then you can very clearly understand at the point this x coordinate is minus 2. So we can accept that according to diagram also, that is okay, right? So therefore x coordinate is minus 2. Then to find out y coordinate, what we do, people, that x value minus 2, we substitute here or here in this equation, and you have to find out y value. Once I substitute that pair here, then you get the y value corresponding to this x equals minus 2 like this. Then we get y equals x minus 1. I am going to put that x value where here, minus 2 minus 1, y is minus 3. Understand? Then here the y coordinate is, people, minus 3. Y coordinate is minus 3. So that is how, people, we find what? The x and y coordinates at the point of intersection of two straight lines. Understand? That way you found the point of intersection, its coordinates of two straight lines in your O levels. People, now today our lesson is regarding this part, because by this theory part, people, there were some questions in past papers. Soon after discussion of this theory part, we go for the past paper some related to this theory. 2013, that question, I think 13, no, near year. Okay, all right, people. Then today I'm going to do the way of finding the points of intersection of not like this two straight lines. Understand? We are going to find, people, the points of intersection. One graph is a minimum graph or maximum graph, quadratic graph like this. Okay. The other one is a straight line like this. When we draw this kind of quadratic graph and this kind of straight line, people, you can see here there are 2 points, one point of intersection here, another point of intersection here. Then at those points of intersection, people, now I am going to find out x and y coordinates. The method is still the same. So this one, it can have one equation. No, it is having really one equation. No, I take, for example, like this, and I am going to take this one as what? Y equals x minus 1, people. the equation of the straight line like this. Then if I need to find out at this point the x and y coordinate and at this point the x and y coordinate, people, what we need to do is, as I did there, at these points, what can you say, people? See the height to this graph and height to this line from the x-axis being equal. People, what do you mean by that? At this point, y value of the quadratic graph and at this point y value of the straight line being equal. That means this y value and this y value at this point being equal. Left hand side being equal means, people, the right hand side must be equal. That story is not only true for this point but also, people, for this point. Okay, so therefore in this case, to find out the coordinates of the points of intersection of a quadratic graph and a straight line, people, what we need to do is we have to solve that two equations. That way, equating the y values and solving that two equations is called as, people, solving the two equations simultaneously. Solving the two equations simultaneously. Understand? Solving the two equations simultaneously. And the other thing is, people, this. In our day-to-day mathematical works, right? Now, before solving this way to find the points of intersection, people, you know, nobody can say when we have this kind of quadratic graph and a line and quadratic graph, both when we draw on the same graph paper, nobody can say definitely that quadratic graph and straight line must intersect. Nobody can say like that, a general rule. Some quadratic graphs and straight lines, when we draw together in the same OXY plane or same graph paper, they may intersect like this at 2 points. People, some graphs and straight lines, when we draw, people, right, so they lie without intersecting like this. They never intersect. Okay. People, another one, when we consider another set of this kind of quadratic graph and line, when we consider, people, we have some occasions the line this way touches here, the line this way touches, the line and the graph, they touch each other like this. They touch each other like this. Here they touch each other. So therefore, people, basically there are three possibilities when we draw a quadratic graph and a straight line on the same graph paper we get. What are the three possibilities? The quadratic graph and the line may intersect at 2 points as shown in this diagram. Secondly, they lie separately as shown in this diagram. Third case is, people, they touch each other at only 1 point. Now, people, without drawing this way the two graphs in the same paper or same set of axes, people, there are more occasions in our day-to-day mathematical works. We should know the way of existing the quadratic graph and the straight line. When we draw in the same diagram, we should get that idea before drawing that. You know, people, in no point of drawing this, we need only what? When we draw this quadratic graph and straight line on the same diagram, we need only whether they intersect each other like this at 2 points, or they touch each other, or they lie separately. That information only we need for a particular work in a question. In that case, people, to find that one, if we need to draw this graph like this, it takes more time. So therefore, our effort is what, people, when you are given this kind of quadratic graph equation and straight line equation, by people observing that and using a particular mathematical way, we are now going to find out the nature of their what way of line on the XY plane. Nature mean what, people? Whether they intersect each other, or they touch each other, or, people, they lie separately each other. Out of that three, what point or what matter or what form or nature becomes true for the given quadratic graph and the straight line? That is what today under the lesson we are supposed to discuss. Understand, people? Right? Yeah. So then, people, our first part is today. We'll start the lesson drawing this two straight line, that also very important in the future. Okay, so therefore we draw the lines like this, as I told you, by finding only 2 points, and we find the point of intersection. Secondly, people will draw another line, another graph and a straight line together on the same plane, and then we'll see how to find the points of intersection. And thereafter, by getting a live picture like this, I'll give you a theorem. Thereafter, we can go to the past papers, and then after that, people, another one theory we have in this lesson. Thereafter, you can do any past paper sum. Understand? Okay, so therefore, today we'll write the heading as people like this: point of intersection of two curves. That's the heading today, right? Write down the heading like this. Write down the coordinates. The coordinates of the point of intersection of two graphs. Two graphs. Right. That is the heading. Right. Same place. Also, the coordinate of the graphs. That's the question. Right. Now, people, you know, this and this are people two straight lines. Two straight lines. Right. In drawing a straight line, people, it is sufficient to find only 2 points. People, remember, the method of drawing a straight line is finding 2 points on the line and joining that 2 points and producing to both things. That is true only for drawing the straight line. For any other curve, people, that method is not true. Then you might ask, what is that method? People, there is a method. So we learned that completely in one lesson called as application of derivatives in a pure paper, pure lesson paper. So therefore, that occasion will discuss completely how to draw a given graph. When you are given the equation of a graph, for example, people, we discussed the curve sketching of this kind of graph. Look at this. When you are given this way an equation, people, right? Okay. This kind of graphs we draw in the future lesson called as application of derivatives, and definitely every year question is coming. So that occasion we'll discuss how to draw a long process available, but very easy. Long process available, but very easy. So therefore, remember people, in drawing a straight line, all right, the method is finding 2 points. Finding 2 points means people, x and y coordinates of 2 points, and we mark them and we join that 2 points and produce to both ends. Okay, that is true only for drawing the straight line, right? That case we'll discuss under the application of derivatives. Okay, yeah, people, now what we do is this. First we'll draw. How to find the 2 points, people, tell me? Right, we put x equals 0 here and we find y, then we get x coordinate and y coordinate 1 point. Secondly, y coordinate 0 and what people x. Okay, then second point. That way we plot the 2 points on the xy plane and we join and produce both things. All right, I'll give you 2 minutes, draw the both lines. You know that I the way I drew this one, reminding that people draw these 2 lines and draw on the xy same plane. Okay, right. Start now, people. That OXY plane means, people, when we draw, take in a paper, take in the graph paper, you draw x-axis and y-axis, no? Okay, take in a graph paper, you draw x-axis like this. Suppose this is my paper. This is my paper. Right, now draw x-axis this way. I draw y-axis this way. People, now this x-axis and y-axis lying on the surface of this board. This surface is called, people, this is flat surface. Flat surface. This flat surface only, people, we call as plane. On the white surface, it is now a plane. On this plane only, people, this xy 2 axis drawn. Then here OXY, OX axis, OY axis. Both axes now lie on this plane. Therefore, the white surface, white plane, the board, the surface of the board is called as, people, what? OXY plane. That Cartesian coordinate plane means the same thing. Wherever on a flat surface, when we draw x and y axis, people, that surface is a flat now. It is called a plane. Then it is called as the OXY plane, or sometimes OXY Cartesian coordinate plane, because this is of course found by a mathematician called as Cartesian. Understand, people? So that is why it is known as Cartesian coordinate plane. Okay, very simple idea, right? So now start, people, that. Draw the diagram. Put x equals 0, people. We are here. I am first going to draw this one. I need 2 points on that. Put x equals 0 here. 0 minus 1 is -1. Y is -1. Then what is the coordinate? X coordinate 0, y coordinate -1. Therefore, 1 point on the line is 0 minus 1. Secondly, put y 0. Put y 0 here. What do you get? 0 equals x minus 1. Brings this side 1, x equals 1. 1, 0. The other point is 1, 0. Right, now right. X equals 0, y minus 1. X equals 0, y minus 1. Is here. I'll take here -1, -2, -3, -4. The origin -1, -2, -3, -4. here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. X equals 0, y minus 1 people. 0 minus 1 this point. 1, 0 is this point. Right. We join this and produce to both ends like this. Huh? This is the line required. This is line required. Huh? First line is okay. The equation of the line going to be people y equals x minus 1. Right. Second line will draw. In drawing the second line also, people, we need 2 points on the line. To find the 2 points on the line, what we do is, people, put x equals 0. We are here. 2 into 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1, people. Then y is 1. 0, 1. Right? Put y 0. 0 equals 2x plus 1. Then 1. We can bring this one to left hand side. Minus 1 minus half is x. Then x is minus half. Then what is the other point? Point is, people, minus half comma 0. Minus half comma 0. Right. 0 minus 0 1 is the first point. This is that point, people. 0 1 means x coordinate 0, y coordinate 1. Right. Right. Second one, minus half 0. Minus half 0 is here. Minus half 0 is here. X is minus half, y 0 is this point. Then join that 2 points and produce the line segment we get like this. Right. The point, this one I am going to take, right? The point where they intersect each other, I am going to take as P, people. This way. This is a point P. This point P is the point of intersection. Point P is the point of intersection. Okay. Right. Now we can find point P. This equation is what, people? Y equals 2x plus 1. The two lines cut each other at the point P, people. That point P only we call as, people, point of intersection of the two lines. Right. Let the point of intersection, let the point of intersection of the lines be P. Right. Then what we do, people, to find the point P? We call, people, solving the two equations simultaneously. Simultaneously means, people, together. Solve means what, people? By equating y values, that means by equating right hand sides, we get an equation and we solve that for x. Understand? That is called as the simultaneous solving the two equations. Right. I'll write down to find the coordinates of point P let's solve the equations y equals x minus 1 and y equals 2x plus 1 simultaneously. Simultaneously. What is meant by people simultaneously solving? Yeah, simultaneously solving means people at this point P, the depth to the both lines same, equal. Depth means y. At this point, y coordinates of both lines being equal, y values are equal. This and this being equal. If these two are equal, definitely the right hand side must be equal, right? Right. Then you can write it like this, equating y values. We get, we equate this and this, then definitely right hand side must be equal. Then we get what? 2x plus 1 is equal to x minus 1. Brings this side, 2x minus x. This one to right hand side, minus 1 minus 1. X is minus 2. Right now, x is minus 2. Now we need to find people y. To find y, what we do is that x value we substitute via here or here. Whichever you use, people, you get the same answer. Now, I'll take this one. Using y equals 2x plus 1, 2 times x minus 2 plus 1 minus 4 plus 1, y is minus 3. Then y coordinate also we found. Then what are the coordinates? Minus 2 and minus 3. Therefore, point P is minus 2 minus 3. Right, correct now people? Approximately in our diagram 2, we get me that this way. Right. This is very simple thing. This we have done in your rules also. In order to give a actually in order to recall only I did this one, right? But this is not our proper topic today. Right. Right. Now we will come another one, another question. Right? Yeah. That is this. Right, people. This is the next question. Right. Come to question this. Sketch the graphs of y equals x squared plus 6 minus 2 and y equals 2x plus 4 on the same OXY plane. Also find the coordinates. Also find the coordinates of the points of intersection. Right. People, you know, at the very beginning of this quadratic equation lesson, we discussed how to draw this kind of quadratic graph. Just now we discussed, people, how to draw this kind of what? Straight line. Now I think within very short time, people, you can draw both graphs in the same diagram. First draw this one, people. I'll give 5 minutes. Everybody can do this. Let's see how to draw the quadratic graph. Right? This graph. And the two graphs given are this, no? Y equals x squared plus x minus 2. And the other one is y equals 2x plus 4, no? Right? Okay? Finished. Yeah. I think you can hear me, no? Right. Right. People, you know the way of drawing the quadratic graph, right? So this one I am going to draw. Right. We have to complete the square, no? You know the steps in completing the square. First, we have to put a bracket like this. I'll take the normal parenthesis like this. And it's perfect squared. Right? And this one we write here. Now, what are the terms we write in bracket? Of this x squared, only x we take. And the x coefficient is, people, 1, no, here. That is plus 1. Right? That x coefficient we divide by 2. That figure only we write within bracket this way. Okay. And people, finally what we do? The perfect squared of the second term within bracket we subtract. Subtract perfect squared of half. What is that? 1 squared is 1 divided by 2 squared is 4. Yeah. Then people, you can see y equals x plus half to the power 2. All right. Now here you can see, people, when I consider this 2, it is really 2 by 1. Then for this 1 and this 4, I can take common denominator. People, can you tell me the least common multiple, LCM of 1 and 4? It's 4, no, people? It's 4. And I'm going to take this minus sign out and open the bracket. Now the least common multiple is 4. Once you take minus sign out, people, the both will be now plus. Since we take here LCM as 4, then this 2 should be multiplied by 4. Then we get 8 there. And here plus 1. This one change because the denominator is 4. The same, right? Yeah. So then what do you get, people, next one? X plus half to the power 2 minus here 9 by 4. Something like this we get. Now you know, people, how to determine the coordinates of the vertex. This is a minimum graph, no? Why, people? This x squared coefficient is plus 1, no? So therefore we know it is a minimum graph, right? Yeah. So then I can write the vertex of this. Vertex. Vertex is what? Vertex can be obtained, its x coordinate can be obtained by changing this sign to minus. Minus half. And people, y coordinate going to be with this sign, this 9 by 4, minus 9 by 4. We got that. Right. Vertex is okay. Now we need to find roots, people. Roots. For roots, we know, people, what? For roots, we have set y0, no? We have set y0. Y0 means here. This is 0. Right. So then once you put 0 here, people, what do you get? 0 equals this. That means this equals 0. Right. So then what do you get? X plus half to the power 2 minus 9 by 4 equals 0. Bring this right hand side, people. Plus 9 by 4. Then take the square root on the right hand side. X plus half equals, people. Once you take square root, we get plus or minus. Take root of 9, 3 by 2. Then take this half to right hand side, that will be minus half plus or minus 3 by 2. Okay. Then people, we take plus sign first and secondly minus sign and take two answers for x. Right. When you take plus sign, what do you get here? Minus half plus 3 by 2. X is common denominator is 2. Here minus 1 plus 3. 3 minus 1 is it's also 2. 2 by 2. X is 1. Take a minus sign, people. This one. Then we get second one is what, people? Minus half minus 3 by 2. The denominator is 2 common. Minus 1 minus 3. People, it is minus 4. X is minus 2. The roots we found. People, now we have what the vertex and the roots. Then we can roughly draw the minimum graph, right? Yeah. Then I write this data we are here. Vertex. Vertex is minus half. Minus 9 by 4. And roots are, people, 1 and minus 2, right? One and minus 2, right? This way we get. Right, now we can draw that. Yeah. Right. Then people, shall I erase the board? Have you finished? Yes, I think so. Then I erase this. We'll draw the OXY plane. Right. People, vertex is minus half minus 9 by 4. Minus half is between 0 and minus 1. No. Minus 9 by 4 means, people, minus 2.25. Minus 2.25 is somewhere here. Right here. Minus 9 by 4 is this. This is minus half. Roots minus 2 and 1. This is, and these are the roots. Okay, people, start the one now. It's a minimum graph. It's a well obvious fact because x squared coefficient is 1. Yeah. So then we get it like this. This is a graph, people. Right. This is a graph. Roughly, this is enough, people, right? Yeah. This is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. This is that equation. Y equals x squared plus 6 minus 2. Right. Now, secondly, the line. This one, y equals 2x plus 4. People, we need there, but 2 points. Put x equals 0, right? And then find y value. Secondly, y equals 0, and then find x value. Then find, people, the 2 points. And then what we need to do is join that 2 points and produce to both ends. Then we get that relevant line with that given equation. Right now, yeah. Come that 2 people. Right. Now, when you put x equals 0, put x 0 here, then y is 4, then point is 0, 4. Secondly, put y 0, here 0, then 2x plus 4, bring this 4 this side, minus 4 equals 2x, divide by 2. This way, what do we get? This is minus 2, x is minus 2, no? 2 minus 2 equals x means x is minus 2. What's the other point? Minus 2, 0. Here, people, one point is minus 2, 0, this. The other point is 0, 4. 0, 4 means x coordinate 0, y coordinate 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, I'll take somewhere here, right? Like this, suppose. This way we get, no? This, right? Suppose we have this is the graph. You can see here the 2 graphs, they intersect here, point P. This is the point of intersection. The line is this. Okay. Now you can see, people, there are 2 points of intersection. One is this. The other one is this. There are 2 points of intersection in this case. This point is, people, already we know x coordinate minus 2, no? Both the graph, the quadratic graph and the line, both pass to the point minus 2. X coordinate is known, minus 2, y coordinate is 0. Already that is known. That point, of course, we don't know. And then let's see how to solve this, how to find this. Right. Right. Now, people, after drawing this way, you can write one sentence like this. Write down, people, one sentence. Write down. Write down. In this case, the line and the quadratic graph, intersect at 2 points. Intersect at 2 points. Let these points be, capital P and capital Q. Okay. Write down, to find the coordinates, at these points P and Q, let's solve the equations of the graphs. People write within bracket will write. Let's equate simple y values of the equations of the graphs. Right. Then people can write then. Right, what do you get? This y values, this and this being equal mean people, if these two are equal, right? Then the right hand side also equal, no people. Then if this y and this y being equal means since this is equal to this is equal to this, these two also equal, right? Then we get people what? Then we get x squared plus x minus 2 is equal to 2x plus 4. Bring this side people, 4 to this side, x squared. Once we bring this 2x to this side, we get minus 2x. X minus 2x is people minus 6. Take this to 4, we get minus 4 and minus 2 minus 6 coming. People, now we have 0 on the right hand side. See people, when we solve these two equations, this time people, we got what people? Quadratic equation in X. Definitely people, this we remember when we need to find the points of intersection, the coordinates at the points of intersection of a quadratic graph and a straight line, right? We get this kind of quadratic equation. People, you know, for a given quadratic equation, it has the roots in 3 ways. We learned that. What are the roots, people? Roots are real and distinct. Roots are coincident. Roots are imaginary. You know, for each, the condition required. For roots to be real and distinct, that means in order to get two different roots, the delta should be positive. In order to get coincident roots, the two roots to be equal, delta 0. Third one, people, no real roots, delta negative. People, now when you find the delta of this, it is 1. Let us see the people, in this case, subject with ABC values, when we find delta, you can see B square means minus 1 square, 4 is 1, 3 is minus 1 plus 1 plus 3. You can get that. Delta means 1. I have been talking really people this. I equated the y values. Okay. Then when the y values are equal, the right hand side must be equal, people. Then I equated like this, and I brought all the terms to what left hand side. Then I got this kind of quadratic equation, right? Okay. All right. In that quadratic equation, people, the quadratic equation, for a given quadratic equation, it has roots. The roots can have basically in three ways. We know that we discussed that in detail at the very beginning of this lesson. What are the three possibilities? Roots can be real and distinct, real coincident, and imaginary. People, that real distinct roots, whenever the quadratic equation has its discriminant delta become positive. Real coincident roots, people, roots two roots are equal and real number, delta 0. And next one, people, no real roots, delta negative. Okay. Then here also, people, for this quadratic equation, I can find delta b squared minus 4ac, right, people? B means this x coefficient, it is -1. A means this x squared coefficient here, people, +1 we have. And people, C is this -6. Then subject to this ABC value, if I find the discriminant of this quadratic equation delta, b squared is -1 squared minus 4 times, a is this 1 and c is this -6. Then people, when you simplify here, we get minus plus, and 4 and 6 is 24, and this is 1, right? Then we get 25. Then delta is 25. 25 means positive value, delta positive. Then people, it has two roots. Let's find that two roots. Let's find that two roots. Okay. That two roots can easily be found, people, this way, right? Yeah. Well, very clearly you can understand in this case, right? In this case, by the diagram, people, you can very easily understand one point of intersection has x coordinate -2. Then one root of this quadratic equation should be -2. Let's see whether it is true, right? Then you can see something like this very easily, right, people? Now I am going to take this quadratic equation, right? Okay, people, there are three ways of finding the roots. What is first way? Factorization method. Second way, completing the square method. Third way, what is, people? Using the formula. I'm going to use the factorization method in this case. That also and we did that at the beginning of the lesson, right, people? Now here, when I find the factors, people, here you can very easily take the factors of this quadratic equation. One is x plus 2, other one is, people, x minus 3. Okay, then we get the factors. Then equate each factor to 0. X plus 2 is 0, or x minus 3 equals 0. Then here take this 2 right hand side, -2, here 3. People, correct, no? One solution we got, -2. That is coming obviously here, -2. This is that one point of intersection. That is well obvious by the graph 2. Then people, thereby you can very easily understand, in order to find out the points of intersection, the simultaneously solving method is the applicable method. Then this is the, right, x coordinate 3, right? So according to my graph, of course, we haven't drawn that graph subject to a particular correct scale. That is why this 3 is not vertical above this. This p is not vertical above 3. But anyway, people, this point is 3, right? Yeah. The two x coordinates are -2 and 3. People, we need y coordinates also, right? When x equals 2, we can very clearly see when x equals 2, because when we find the point, people, not only the x coordinate, but y coordinate also we have to find. Then to find the y coordinate, put that x minus 2 here. Then what do you get? Y equals x squared plus x minus 2. For this x, put -2 squared plus -2 people. -2 squared, people, what? Plus 4, no? Plus and minus -2, -2, minus 4. 4 minus 4, it is nothing but 0. Y is 0. Correct, no, people? Then the point Q, x coordinate -2, y coordinate 0. That is obvious by the graph also, right? Then one point Q is this, right? Therefore, point Q is -2, 0. Right. Point P, when x equals 3. When x equals 3, people, we can put that 3 where? People, it is not compulsory to put that x value here we put -2? No, people, where we put that in this equation. What if we put that x equals -2? The other one also. What is the equation of this, people? We said it is what? 2x plus 4, no? Though you put that y value earlier, x value -2, where? In that equation, that means in this, then still we get that phi 0. Very easy, people. How? Here, x -2, when you put, what do you get here? 2 into -2 is -4, plus 4, -4 plus 4, y 0, the same thing coming. So therefore, whichever the equation you use to find that y value, substitute that found x value, you get the correct y value. Okay, right. So people, when x equals 3, therefore people, I'm going to use this equation. Very easily you can take, put in 3 here. And what is that? When you put x equals 3, 2 into 3 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. Y is 10. We'll put that in that. Four, no, here. It's 10. Then we get point P 3, 10. Right. Up to, I think you can very easily manage. People, now in the story, the most important one is this. You can see people here, this graph and this line, they intersect at 2 points. There are 2 points of intersection. There are 2 points of intersection. People, when this way the graph and the line intersect each other at 2 points, when we equate that right hand sides and when we get this way quadratic equation, people, in this quadratic equation, delta, the discriminant, is positive. So therefore people, we have very easy method to determine when you are given quadratic graph and straight line, whether they intersect at 2 points, they touch each other, or they lie separately. At the very beginning, we said, people, what? When we draw a quadratic graph and straight line on the same pair of axes, first possibility we said the line and the graph can intersect at 2 points like this. That occasion, people, the quadratic equation we get by equating the right hand sides has delta positive. The second possibility is, people, we said, second possibility is the line and the graph may touch each other like this. Here at a point like this, they touch each other like this. People, when they touch, remember, when they touch only 1 point, no, people, there we have only 1 point. We have the contact, the touching point is called as a contact point. Only 1 point we have, therefore only one x value we have. So therefore people, by this equation should be able to give only one x value. When it gives only one x value, means, people, roots coincident. Root coincident means what people? The two x values we get as the roots, people, equal. That is why we say coincident roots or equal roots. When the curve, the graph and line touch each other, people, only x value, one x value we have. That means, people, delta in this case 0. Here delta positive. People, now third case is when we draw this way a quadratic graph and straight line. The second possibility is, people, third possibility is the graph may be like this and line may be like this. They don't intersect or touch each other. In that case, people, this quadratic equation, okay, people, should not have real roots. Why? By this equation we get x values at the points of intersection. No, in this case, people, we can obviously see the graph and line lie separated. That means they don't intersect. Therefore this equation should not be given real roots. So for that one, what can you say, people? delta negative. Now you have a proper way of determining what, when you are given equation of quadratic graph and a straight line without drawing them simultaneously on the OXY plane, people. Now you have a method of determining when both are sketched on the same OXY plane, how they would be, people, right? Whether they intersect, touch, or slide separately. That can easily be done how, people? By equating this way the right hand side, obtaining this way the quadratic equation, and we calculate its delta discriminant. If delta positive, they intersect, delta 0, they touch, delta negative, they lie separately. That is the test, people. Understand? So then from here only, people, our today the required topic starting now. I explained this much, people. Actually, lively you can see the truth of my topic I am going to give you. Understand? So that way, people, you of course absorb this 100% without any doubt or hesitate mind. That kind of confidence you should have regarding the subjects, people, in order to go forward. Otherwise, having this way doubts or anything, people, hesitate mind, people, we can't bring 100% the subject material to our mind, and thereby, of course, we can't build a solid knowledge, solid scale, right? So that is why I explained this much during 1.5 hours. Okay, right? Okay, now people will write a knot. As a knot, we can then write. Right. Try to write this, people. Try to write as a knot. Right. Right on. When a quadratic graph, when a quadratic graph and a straight line are both sketched, on the same OXY plane, on the same OXY plane. We may get three possibilities as below. First one, the graph may intersect at 2 points. Like this. Okay. Draw this one. Small graph, people, huh? Very small graphs. Very small graphs. Number 2, the graphs may touch each other. like this. Third one, the graphs may lie externally. Or separately. Like this. Right, now we will write. Then we'll write another one sentence like this. Write down the mathematical condition. The mathematical condition for each of the case. For each case. For each case. Can be given as follows. Can be given as follows. Can be given as follows. Write on. Let delta B. Let delta B. The discriminant. Let delta be the BEB, the discriminant of the quadratic equation we get when we equate simple y values, of the equations of the given graphs. Then number one, write down. Number one, if delta greater than 0, what can we say? The graph and line intersect each other. Write down. The graph and line intersect each other. The graph and the line intersect each other. If delta equals 0, the graph and line touch each other. Number 3, people. If delta negative, the graph and the line lies separately, lie separately. Yeah. People, this is that theory. Okay. Right. People, I think you have the tutorial. I put the tutorial on before. Now we can start discussions of questions. Right. People, now take question number 18 in the tutorial, page number 3. Right. If you don't have that tutorial with you at the moment, I can give you the question. Right. Right. Take question number 18 in the tutorial, page number 3. The question used like this. Question says, write down the condition required for the graphs y equals ax squared plus bx plus c and the line y equals mx plus c dash. Number 1, to intersect each other. Number 2, to touch each other. Number 3, to be inseparate. Right. Here, what is the method? Yeah. The right hand sides of these equations we have to equate and obtain a quadratic equation and then find its delta. If the delta positive, intersect at 2 points. Delta 0, touch each other. Delta negative, they lie separately. Yeah. Okay. Now we can write solving simultaneously the equations y equals ax squared plus bx plus c and y equals mx plus c dash. What do you get? Equate this and this right hand side. Then bring what? This right hand side to left hand side. Then once you take this mx to this side, we get minus mx, right? Take this mx to this side, we get minus mx. Then here also we have x. This contains x. We can take x out, people. Then we get b minus m, no? Shall I write that straight away? You can think that, no? Right? B minus m times x. Plus, take the c dash this side, c minus c dash equals 0. Right? So then we can write delta. What is people delta? Discriminant. Delta. The b value is people discriminant how to write? Discriminant how to write for the standard quadratic equation. Ax squared plus bx plus c. For that one, how to write the delta? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. The delta is written how, people? B squared minus 4ac, no? Right? B means this figure, right? A means this figure, C means this figure. Like that, here we can write delta. B is x coefficient, no? B minus m perfect square. B squared minus 4 times. A means this. Here, C minus C dash. This is delta. Right, this is delta. Right, this is delta. Right, this is delta. Now we can write delta like this. Then we need to write conditions. First one, right? To intersect at 2 points. To intersect at 2 points. Delta greater than 0. Right. Then this one. For A, C minus C dash greater than C. Right. Right. If right now, people, you can hear me. Right. Secondly, to touch each other. Delta equals 0. Right. Then this part should be equal to 0. Right. B minus m perfect squared minus 4 A C minus C dash equals 0. Third one, to lie separately. Delta negative. That means this is negative. Like this. This is what we get, people, right? Yeah. Now we can go to a question. Right, people take your question number 72. This is a past paper sum. Now you can very clearly understand what importance of the theories so far we discussed available when we answer this question. How important the theories we learned when we answer this question number 72. Question number 72, right? Some more things in addition to the theories we learned, we are going to discuss in this question. This is 2013 or people, I can't remember exact year. This is anyway the recent past paper question, right? Question number 72. Come to people, question number 72. This is the first question that we discuss in this lesson from past papers. Right. Next week onwards, people, we can discuss all past paper sums and other few theories we have, right? And at the most another 3 classes, we can completely finish. Completely finish for this all lesson. Okay. Then our seminar will be end. Okay. And people, most of the time next month onwards, if somebody join my class, people, now I don't know how many students are there. I don't know what are the names of the students. in the seminar, that's all right, because it is not a something like you have to join the class through what a particular way. Anybody can join now. So now, especially after ending the seminar, we have only our theory classes. Then once you join the theory class, people, your information very important, your name, school, your WhatsApp number, and everything I need. So then only the people they register in my classes will be allowed to join the class next month onwards. Okay, right? So then at the moment, in the class there are 30 students, but after giving the recording, people, there are more than 400 views. Okay, then most of our students now, they are familiar to take the recording and completing everything without coming to the class. So then in the future, giving the recording also, people, I will restrict those who registered in my classes only. I'll give the recording. Commonly, I'm not going to put the recording to the group. Okay, actually, I thought of giving like that because of the convenience of the students. Some students, they find current issue, data issue, signal issue, and some other classes. In order to, of course, minimize those inconveniences only, I gave this recording. But now the people, they familiar without coming to the class, they are having that and this in the class time, and they take the recording and they just do. Even I don't know who are the people they use the recording. That's not good thing as a teacher. So then people, this month only I provide these facilities, right? If anybody need to join my seminar or whatever, some more seminars I am going to conduct in the future to do the other lesson also, especially the vector lesson also. So only the students, they register in my classes only allowed to join the class. Even in the seminar, I make scheduled classes. Then you must register in these classes, giving your email address, your phone number, and everything. If not people, nobody will be able to join the class. Okay, all right. Now, actually, though my class, I allow the students to join like that. Some other classes, many restrictions available, no? Many restrictions available, right? But of course, I thought of doing like that because of the almost all people last period, very hard period in their usual life. So for the convenience of them only, we allowed. As a result of that, people, most of the time, some students, they cheat us, right? Very recently, I noticed 2 students, they have, of course, sent that payment slip, the same payment slip mentioning 2 names at 2 times and sending me the the receipt, the same receipt, 2 occasions, having 10 days gap, the same receipt they sent me, changing the name. Then fortunately, actually, I could identify that because now when you pay to my accounts, the message is coming. They couldn't, of course, change what that linked number. Okay, the same link number. Then I noticed by that the time and everything is there. No, that same data coming to me. So then, of course, what to do? Still, I know that situation, but I accepted that one. The 2 students, only 1 payment. So that kind of things usually happens. What to do, people? This is not my first experience. More experience like this we have. Now, though we think people in the good manner as students, but I don't think that student, not you people, not regarding you, I am telling here, not you really. Some students are there. They cheat to us also. If they don't have a capability of paying the fees, people, they can personally tell us, no, people, we are all human beings, no, people, we are flexible, we can do something. Still, at the moment in my classes, more free cards students are available. So if you ask the free card, then by considering the fact, I can provide them a free card. That is not an issue. But once they do like this, people, so very, 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 of course, painful situation in the life. So then that time, of course, we have to sometimes think, give away this profession and go to some other ones. Right, people, that is not for you, people. I just said my experience only. I need to share this experience. So otherwise, people, you might think that this guy earlier at the beginning like this, now like this, people. That you think, no, you compare, no. So there's a particular reason for this doing. So that's the reason, people, right? So therefore, some students, of course, last week in 2022 batch, people, they some external students, they joined and disturbed us, saying that and this bad words and scolding some, blaming some people. And soon after, he, of course, left the class. So all these things happens, people, because of I open everybody to join the class. I did like that, people, not because of to promote my classes. No, people. So for the convenience of every student, parents are actually hard time suffering in this case. You are, and everybody knows. So for that, to facilitate that only, I did that one. And as a result of that, of course, as parents, some parents, and as students, some students, they of course given up the responsibility. But responsibility. They don't, of course, they of course forgotten to pay a fee. They forgotten to join the class at time. Anyway, they need, anyhow, they need to cover up the things. That's how they think. So far, of course, I did that one. I don't think that you, not you people, most of you in the classes, I think the necessity people only available in the class. The other people, they have no any responsible. If I give the recording, they get the recording and do that one. If not, they have some other classes. So then that kind of students, of course, I never expect in my classes. I need some students. They have a bit correlation between us and going to the final target with together to get a good pass. Such students only I need. So therefore, even though one student in the class, I confine my regulations, and the people, they need to join only, I allow to join. So then that occasion, sometimes I need your Gmail address, your name, WhatsApp number, everything to register in the classes. Other guys, I don't think that they will be able to join the class. Even in seminar, I do like that. People, this is because of our smooth running. Otherwise, this class will be people like a particular place. Anybody can come out, anybody, and so on, such thing. There are some other classes, but my classes, I don't think. In the past also, my classes, they are had particular way of going, especially the behavior and everything, of course, we have actually in a good manner. So therefore, I supposed to continue that also in this class in the future as well. And most of the time, we can start the physical classes month of October. That occasion, I start the physical classes, but having a online class until your A-level examination. Those who are like to join the physical classes, they can join the physical classes. In Kandy, I am doing that in IMS Institute, opposite to the Kandy Girls High School. And in SIP in Kurunegala, the most famous institute in Kurunegala city. Okay. All right. So then you can join that classes also if you are according to your convenience. I think the issue in the country at the moment, pandemic situation, will be not completely solved, but manageable situation will be coming like the month of October. Okay. All right. So that is a summary, of course, regarding the process of our class in the future. Right. Now take people number 72. Yeah. Let fx given like this. X squared plus 2kx plus k plus 2, where k is a real constant. If x equals x squared plus 2kx plus k plus 2. K is a real constant. Real constant means, people, real number. Constant means what? Fixed value. Right. Right. K is a real number. Right. This notation, people, R stands for real, but we write here another line to say what? This notation is set of real numbers. Set of real numbers. Set of real numbers, right? Right. Now, express fx in the form x minus a perfect squared plus b. Fx means this, no? We need to express that fx in the form x minus a perfect squared plus b. This form, where a and b are constant to be determined. Yeah. Then people, what we need to do is, the fx we are given is that, no, the right hand side, no, people, you have to complete the square on the right hand side. This right hand side, we have to complete the square, right? People, complete the square on the right hand side, then we can obtain this answer, right? You know the steps in completing the square, right? We have learned that. So therefore, people, very easily you can do that. Complete the square on the right hand side, right? Fx. Right. What are the steps in completing the square, people? Put the perfect square here. And the term which is not involved in x, we have to write soon after the bracket. Okay. And within bracket, what do you write, people? From the x squared only x plus x coefficient. What is that? 2k, no? That we have divided by 2. Then we get what? K. It is plus k. Okay. X coefficient should be divided by 2. X coefficient is 2k, people. When you divide that by 2, we get only k. That only here we have to write. Finally, we have to subtract what? The perfect square of this. We have to subtract minus k squared we get. Minus k squared. Now, what is asking there? Fx. This plus k, plus sign, shall I write like this? X minus k. This way I can write. Here, minus and minus make plus, no, people, this is coming. Then this way, when we write, that is really this. Plus k plus 2 minus k squared. Right, we get like this, right? Then people asking what? Now we are asked to write this fx in this form. Now I am going to write below this the form asking this one. X minus a perfect squared plus b. This is the form we need finally. Now people, we are asked to determine x and y. Sorry, not x and y, a and b. Where a and b are constant to be determined in terms of k. Right, people, now here after minus sign, what do you have? Minus k. But after minus sign here we have a. Therefore, this a is what? Minus k. After the bracket, after plus sign, this whole thing is after plus sign. What do we have? This. Then here a is minus k, b is this. Am I correct, people? Right. So therefore, you can write. Therefore, a is equal to minus k, and this b, k plus 2 minus k squared. K plus 2 minus k squared. See here, people, the completing the square method is the only method here we can use to take this answer. If you don't know that completing the square method, people, you can't take this answer. So that is why we learned that completing the square method at the very beginning of the lesson. Right. Right. Now another one is asking, find the turning point of fx without using calculus and show that this point is a minimum point. Right. Without using calculus, people, in finding the turning point, there is another method under differentiation, under calculus. We will discuss that calculus after another 4 or 5 lessons. In that calculus lesson, people, there is an easy way of determining these vertices or the turning points of graphs. In this case, you are not allowed to use that method. Though you allowed, you don't know how to use that one because you haven't done no. But at the examination, you will have done all lessons there. You know how to use the calculus in this case to get the turning point. But in this question given, if you use the calculus knowledge, no marks. Without using calculus means that. Now, people, the turning point, you know. People, what is the turning point? Turning point, we said what? Within the bracket, people, after this sign, okay, changing the sign to opposite. Here we have, people, we have to change the sign to opposite. Then we get what? X value. That is the x coordinate of the vertex. And after the bracket, with the sign, whole thing going to be what? The y coordinate of the vertex, right? X coordinate how to take? Within bracket, change the sign to opposite. Then we get x coordinate of the vertex. Y coordinate is, people, after the sign, with the sign, the whole thing is the y coordinate. Then the vertex is what? Vertex. The vertex is x coordinate. I will write in terms of a. You have to change this to plus a, comma b. What is really a? A is minus k, b k plus 2 minus k square. This way. Right, asking people, this point is minimum point. This point is minimum point. People, now I told you, when this x squared coefficient is plus, then the graph is minimum. People, that information, if you use to say, give this answer, people, you won't get marks. That information I gave you, people, in order to identify at the very beginning, at the first attempt, the nature of the graph, whether it is maximum or minimum. When you explain, since here x squared coefficient is plus, positive, then therefore this turning point should be minimum. That answer is not a satisfactory answer. You won't get marks. Understand, people? I can remember that occasion I told you, when x squared coefficient is positive, the graph is minimum. In the future, we will of course prove this. That the proof we have to explain this. Then I can explain it like this, people. You know, this fx in terms of a and b, we have written down already. Here, x minus a plus x minus a perfect square plus b. No, people, this is how we say that found vertex is minimum. This is how we explain it. People, you can very clearly understand. This a is a real number. Real number means what? In our day-to-day life, the numbers we use, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, minus half, and so on, decimals, everything is this a. A can take any real number. B also such a real number. People, you know, x is also any number. There we use the letter x because it is a variable. A and b have, people, two fixed values, but x is not such a fixed value, right? Okay, right, people? So then x can take, what are the values this x can take? Any real number available from negative infinity up to positive infinity, this x can take. You know, when we consider real number line, people, this thing we have negative infinity plus infinity. So then from negative infinity up to positive infinity, when we go, people, like this, all the numbers available on the line, on this line is called as real numbers. Real numbers. Then this x can take, people, any real number available on the number line. Okay, right? So now tell me, people, I am going to take for this a as, suppose for example 2, I take x as 5. Then what do we have here? 5 minus 2 perfect square. It is what? 3 squared. It is 9. Like that, people, whatever the real number here, we substitute for this x, positive or negative, taking this difference. When we square this, people, finally the number we get after squaring, right? Square any real number, people. This difference is a real number, no? After squaring any real number, your answer is positive, no, people. Your answer is positive, no? Take any real number you like, negative 10, square that. Negative 10 perfect square mean what, people? 100. Put for this x any other value, right? The difference can be positive or negative, but after squaring that, we get always positive. So therefore, people, what can you say about this value? This value is always positive, always positive because of perfect square. But you know, people, suppose this x value and this a value become equal, suppose this x also 2, then 2 minus 2, within bracket we get 0. 0 squared is 0. Therefore, people, not only this can take positive, this can be 0 also. So therefore, what can you say about this perfect square? It is greater than or equal to 0. It never be negative, but it is positive or 0. This is positive or 0. Then people, right, positive or 0. On the real number, here we have 0. Then where is the positive values? On the right of 0, we have positive values. Then on the right of 0, any value, this x minus a perfect square can take. On the right of 0, any value, this x minus a perfect square can take. So then people, you can very clearly understand there are infinitely many values which we can put for this x minus a perfect square, because x minus a perfect square is always positive, right? Once we give different values for x, this x minus a perfect square will take different values from set of real numbers, real number line on the right hand side of 0, positive values. Then people, if we think like that, what is the biggest value this x minus a perfect square can take? Yes, what is the biggest value this x minus a perfect square can take? Yeah, people, can somebody answer? Infinity. Yes. This way, this x minus a perfect square and these people what? In real number, no. Positive real number, no. This way it can take in positive number. Then that is infinity. Then people, what is infinity? It has no meaning. It is a very bigger value. Biggest value is infinity, but we can't say that in values. We can't give any value for that. That is so big. Understand? So therefore, because of that reason, can we determine the maximum, the highest possible value to the right hand side? No, it is again infinity. Only the word infinity we can use. Other than that, of course, its largeness we can't explain. Right. So therefore, on the right hand side, can you explain the highest value? No, it is infinity. Infinity means that's only we can say. But people, what can you say about this x minus a perfect square minimum value it can take? We said what, people? Minimum value x minus a perfect square minimum value is what? 0. 0. Why? We said when x is 2, a is 2, 2 minus 2, 0, 0 squared is 0. So therefore, people, even though we can't determine, we can't give to the right hand side maximum value, we can give minimum value to the right hand side. What is that? When this x minus a perfect square takes 0, its minimum possible value, the right hand side will be what, people? Minimum, because this b is a constant, no? Then when this is 0, 0 plus b, it is b, then that is the minimum value. So therefore, you can very easily say the right hand side maximum value, highest value, nobody can determine, because x minus a perfect square, its highest value is infinity. Therefore, to the right hand side, we can't give maximum value, but people, to the right hand side, we can give minimum value. So therefore, the right hand side has only one minimum value. So therefore, this graph is what, people? Minimum graph. Minimum graph. Understand? That is how we argue. Then how to write that in mathematically? We can write like this: x minus a perfect square is greater than or equal to 0. So therefore, to the right hand side, we can't give maximum value, but to the right hand side, we can give minimum value. That minimum value occurs when this x minus a perfect square will be minimum. Its minimum value is, people, 0. So therefore, the right hand side will have a minimum value. That is when x minus a perfect square becomes 0 occurs. When x minus a perfect square equals 0 means this will be 0, b we get. Then the minimum value of the graph is what, people? B. Can you remember I told you y coordinate of the vertex can be obtained after the bracket, the rest part take with the sign. The reason is this, people. In order to minimize that, perfect square should be 0. Then on the right hand side, we have with the sign the value after bracket we had. That is why I told like that. In the same way, people, we can explain about the maximum graph, right? So therefore, we can come to that place and then explain by 2-3 sentences how to determine this fx is a minimum, right? Then you can write like this: Write down people like this first. X minus a perfect square, no? Right. Right. Write down this way. Write down fx equals x minus a perfect square plus b. X minus a perfect square plus b. Right? Write down, you can write as x variable varies x minus a perfect squared x minus a perfect squared is either positive or zero. Is either positive or zero. That is x minus a perfect squared greater than or equal to 0. That is x minus a perfect square greater than or equal to 0. Write down. Therefore, the maximum value of x minus a perfect square therefore the maximum value of x minus a perfect square x minus a perfect square cannot be found within bracket. Write down, it is infinity, cannot be found, it is infinity. Within bracket write down, it is infinity. Close bracket. People, infinity is a number, nobody can find that. Huh? That is why I said x minus a perfect square maximum cannot be found. Huh? Infinity nobody can find. Right. Close bracket. The maximum value of x minus a perfect square cannot be found, but it has a minimum value that is 0. That is 0. Therefore, all right, people. Now, to the right hand side, this one. Look at this again, fx. This x minus a perfect square maximum value, highest value, nobody can say. But we can say minimum value for this. What is that? 0. That is 0. When that is 0, the right hand side comes to the least value. Then we can say fx is having a minimum value, but its maximum value can be found. That is why people, when we draw the graph, that is why when we draw the graph, people, we said what, this branch from this end, this branch from this end goes to, they go to what? Infinity. Because of what? We can't determine that this goes to infinity. But here, least value we have. This is the y value, minimum value, y value. So that is how people we write. Write down. We wrote, therefore, fx has a minimum value. Fx has a minimum value. That minimum value is right. What is that minimum value, people? Down. We said fx will be minimum when this perfect square is 0. When this is 0, what is available on the right hand side? B, no? Then minimum value of fx is what? B, right? Therefore, fx minimum is this B. Fx minimum is B. But what is people B? B is this. K plus 2 minus K square. Right. Fx minimum is B. Right. Then shall we construct a rough sketch of this? Right. Now we know Fx is a minimum graph. Its minimum value is B people now, this, right? And I draw the rough sketch of the graph. This is the y equals Fx graph. Right? This is that B. This is that B. This is that B. This height is B people, right? This is B. Right now? Yeah. Now what is asking next? Hence show that curve y equals Fx. Curve y equals Fx. The graph this, curve means graph. Y equals Fx. Lies entirely above the x-axis if k is in between 2n minus 1. People can remember. This is an assumption, but the graph is minimum. That is obvious. Yeah. The graph I drew is, of course, not the correct graph. It is a minimum graph. That only I needed in this case. The graph is minimum graph. I have drawn that graph to lie completely above the x-axis. People, we can't determine whether it is completely above the x-axis or below the x-axis without knowing what this value of k. Such answers only question asking to prove. Right. Now, people, first question is this. This graph lies entirely above the x-axis if, people, you can see here, if the graph is actually like this, lying completely above the x-axis, people, its minimum point also lying above the x-axis, no? Question is what? If the graph lies completely above the x-axis. If the graph lies completely above the x-axis, the minimum vertex point also lying above x-axis. So therefore, you can see this point, the vertex, vertex also above the x-axis. So therefore, the y-coordinate of the vertex only here we have as B. B also, people, positive value now. B is positive value. B is positive value. Right, people? B is positive value. Why? B means the y-coordinate of the vertex. Vertex is above the x-axis. When any point above the x-axis has positive y value. So therefore, when the graph lies completely above the x-axis, B is positive. Then first one you can write, when the graph of y equals Fx lies completely above the x-axis. B greater than 0. B positive. What is this? This is B. Then substitute for this B. K plus 2 minus K squared positive. Right, people, now what do we have here? We have simple inequality. Can you remember we discussed inequality? We discussed that inequality for this case to solve some questions. Now, can you remember the steps in solving such simple inequalities? Using that your knowledge of solving simple inequality, now you can get the region of K as in the question. Okay, people, right? Now we can take that too. Right, now what to do, people, here? We have to factorize this, no? Shall we take minus sign out? Or people, shall we multiply both sides by minus sign? To bring this K squared positive, keeping this minus sign also we can work out, but shall we multiply? Remember people, when you multiply the both sides of an inequality by minus sign, the inequality gets opposite. The reason is, you can very obviously see people, right? You know, 10 greater than 5 no. When you multiply both sides by -1, -10 coming to left hand side, -5 coming to right hand side. Now what is bigger? -5 bigger. Why? On the number line, people, here we have 0, -10 here, -5 here. On the number line, when you go to left, people, right, the numbers are decreasing. Then this -10 is on the left of -5. Therefore, -5 greater than -10. -5 is greater than -10. So therefore, you can very clearly see 10 greater than 5 is true. But once you multiply both sides minus sign, we get -10, -5. Now this -5 is greater. So therefore, here also, when you multiply both sides by minus sign, left hand side, these 3 terms you should multiply by minus sign, and less than 0 multiplied by minus sign means -0. 0 has no sign, therefore it is 0. Then what do you get? This will be plus, this will be minus, this will be minus. Then we get k squared minus k minus 2 less than 0 now. Now you can factorize this and use your knowledge of simple inequality to take this answer, right? Yeah. Right. Then what are the factors here? K minus 2, k plus 1, no people, less than 0. So you can very easily factorize this, no? -2 minus 2k plus 1 is -k, right? Now this will be factorized that. Now what is the next part, people? Next part is you have to equate each factor to 0, and those k values we have to bring on to number line. When you equate this is 0, what do you get? K minus 2 is 0, k is 2. I can mark 2 here. K plus 1, 0, k is -1. It is somewhere here. People, here we don't have equal sign. We don't have equal sign. Then do we take this and this both? No, we have to circle there, but don't color. Now what we do? We take any number you like on the number line. I take 0. 0 lies between -1 and 2. That 0 I put here, and we check whether this is true. We check whether this is true. When you put k 0, what happens, people? K equals 0. When you put here, what do you get? 0 minus 2. 0 plus 1. I put less than 0. See whether this is true. This is -2. This is 1. Right, this is -2 less than 0. This is true. This is true, people. Therefore, this region we have to accept. Then the adjacent regions we have to reject. Therefore, you can very clearly see k less than 2 greater than -1. Right? First answer is coming. Therefore, k less than 2 greater than -1. Okay, now first answer we got like that. See here, people, the inequality knowledge also we need. If we didn't do this inequality, people, inequality lesson is the next lesson, right? If we don't do this inequality at the case in our lesson, people, we can't work out this question. So that is why I discussed that too. Yeah. Second one, number 2. Number 2, people. What is number 2? Touches the x-axis if k equals -1 or k equals 2. People, touches the x-axis means what? This lowest point, when I bring this curve downward, people, what is the point on the curve which comes to the x-axis first? The lowest point, no? Touches the x-axis means only one point on the graph should touch the x-axis. Once you bring this graph down, people, this vertex also little by little coming down, and one occasion this vertex touches this x-axis. That's the meaning, touches the x-axis. That occasion you can see this b height reduced to what? 0. when the graph touches the x-axis, b is what? 0. Write down number 2. When the graph touches the x-axis, b equals 0. B equals 0. Right, people? B is this. K plus 2 minus k squared equals 0. People, now we'll multiply this by minus sign. Then all the left-hand side terms you have to multiply by minus sign. Right-hand side 0, when you multiply by minus sign, we get minus 0, that is 0. Right. The same thing as before, we have the factors. Then we get k minus 2, 0, or k plus 1, 0. Then k is 2, or k is minus 1. K is 2, or k is minus 1. Second answer we got. Right, here next one. Part C. Cuts the x-axis into real two distinct points. Cuts the x-axis into distinct points. If k less than minus 1, no k greater than 2. People, now we said what? Now once we bring this graph downward, one occasion the vertex touches the x-axis like this. Now people, you can very clearly see, in order to cut the x-axis by the graph, furthermore this graph we have to bring down. That means like this. Then here at this point and this point, the graph cuts the x-axis. When the graph cuts the x-axis like this at 2 points, you can see the vertex lies below the x-axis. That means this height is negative. What is this height, people? B. B is negative. Understand? See here, if you don't have a particular knowledge of this behavior of this graph, at the beginning we drew more graphs, people. Now, because of those drawings, now you have the behavior of the graph. Understand? If that picture is not available in your mind, people, you can't give an approach to get the answer. So therefore, you can now see what, when the graph cuts the x-axis at 2 points, that vertex coming down the x-axis and below the x-axis, and therefore the B become negative. Understand? Right? Then write down number 3. When the graph cut the x-axis at 2 distinct points, when the graph cuts the x-axis at 2 distinct points, B negative, B less than 0, B negative, B negative. Right, people? B negative mean what? Here, people, B positive case, early we consider. Now that negative case, we get this way. Then this is this way. Then after multiplying by negative sign, this gets the other way now. Right? Right. This also other way. Then people, earlier we had this. For that, this is the region. Now we need the other way around. Then the region should not be this one, this and this. Am I correct, people? No need to find that again. If we had this way, this is a region. If we take this other way around, people, this is not the region. The other two only we have to accept. I think you can take this. So therefore, we have to ignore this. This one we can ignore. We can take this and this. Therefore, we can write k less than 1 minus 1 or greater than 2. Right. Okay, people, it's second part I'll discuss next day, right? Second part I'll discuss next day. That's also very nice part. Another new thing you will learn in that, the proof of if and only if proof. I take more time to explain that one, people. So therefore, we have reached our end time of the class. So then I discuss that part next week, next class, and some more past paper sums I am going to discuss in the next day. And another 2 more theories available. You can now try all the past paper sums, people. All the past paper sums you can try from the end of the question tutorial. Some past paper sums available. Try to do them. And people, some questions are really complicated in my tutorials. In my tutorials, people, no questions like tough is available compared to some other tutorials of some masters, right? So then if you unable to get the answers, people, don't worry. I'll work out the some questions. Thereafter, you can work out all sums. Okay. So then, people, today we come to the end of the lesson. Next week we meet. Right. Nice day to everyone.